this world has been connected. And now darkness within darkness awaits you.
In the end, every heart returns to the darkness whence it came.
My name is Ansem. I reach for the darkness. One who knows nothing can understand.
Good tidings, everybody, and welcome to not the Secret Answer Report. We're going to start calling this the S Report because, well, I'll get into why, but welcome. It's been a while. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's feeling energized and is loving, everything that's going on in life right now. It's definitely not an apocalyptic scenario. We're doing fine, right? We're okay. So we're back. We're here doing this again. And to start, I want to explain the name change. One of the reasons I kind of stopped doing this show for a while was I kind of got a little in my own head about it. I got a comment on one of the last ones I did where it was somebody who might have looked like this, and they said, "What does this have to do with Kingdom Hearts?" And I was like, nothing, man. Well, it says Ansem in the title. Yeah, I know it says Ansem in the title, but that's because it's like a spin-off of like our podcast that talks about Kingdom Hearts. But I kind of got in my own head about it and kind of like abandoned the idea for a little bit. But then I was like, I can just change the name and it doesn't matter. And like, I don't have to change the name. I want to, because I don't want to mislead people. But at the same time, it's like kind of like a nitpicky like thing of that person to like say that, but whatever. Anyway, so the S Report. I'm not going to tell you what S stands for, but that's what this is called now. It will still be on the same feed of the Ansem Report podcast, just because I don't want to start a new like podcast feed on Spotify or whatever for that. And I think it's like no one's going to search this podcast on its own. So it's not something I'm like worried about in that regard. But just so you know, the S Report. So if someone happens to stumble upon it, they don't immediately go, this is Kingdom Hearts, right? Sure. So here we are. I think this is the 8th one. It really depends on if Jason did one of these a long time ago, and then my computer broke, which was another reason why I kind of stopped doing this. And he's never sent me the file, and I've been like literally in his DMs every day going, brother, please send me the file. And he'll go, oh, I can't find it. But hopefully that comes out at some point. We did a Q&A for the last Answer Report we did live, and we dodged some of the questions he got because he had already answered them on that version. So I didn't want to like double dip because he's told me he still had it, but he might not still have it. So I don't know. I guess if it comes out, you guys will see it. If it doesn't, you won't. So I kind of wanted to give an update on what's been like going on with me. And with everything with the channels and everything, because it's been a little bit since we've done one of these. So we split the YouTubes into two. In twain. We split the YouTubes in twain. This is on, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's on the like older channel, the more popular channel, which is just podcasts now. So it still has all the old stuff, and I have like some ideas of what I want to do with like those old Let's Plays to move them to the new channel. But for right now, they're still there. And this is just where our podcasts are. So this is the Ansem Report podcast. This is the S Report podcast. This is Squid Pro Quo. the Squid Game podcast that Sean and I do. This is What Is This, a Crossover episode, the BoJack Horseman podcast Sean and I do. This is Second Breakfast, the podcast that Jason and Sean used to do. I don't know. I'm still not clear on that one. And anything else that's like podcast related will be on this channel you're on now. And then any gameplay videos, I've been trying to start doing like challenge videos where I stream like a challenge and then I cut it down into like a fun video that has maybe like a story and a theme as opposed to just like hours and hours of like us just streaming. That kind of stuff is going to go on the new channel. So this channel is the Super SpikeGhetti Bros Podcast Network. The new channel is just Super SpikeGhetti Bros. If you have, there'll be a link in the description if you haven't subscribed to the new one yet, which you haven't probably because I think we have almost 2,000 subs on this one, and there's like 75 on that one or something. So I know you haven't, okay? Go subscribe if you haven't yet, because I've posted like 2 videos there. There's going to be more. I'm working on more right now. So I'm really excited about that because it feels creative and feels fun, and it feels like something I want to do. We had our subathon in December, which went really well, and it was a lot of fun, and we had a great time with it. I'm still working on clips from that, but I got kind of derailed post-subathon for 1, the holidays, 2, Tara and I got to go to Mexico, which I'll talk about for a minute, and then 3, I got hella sick when I came home from Mexico, and it really derailed both those things. A lot of my plans that I wanted to do when I got back, but I'm finally starting to get in motion. So let's talk about Mexico first. I won a trip through my work to go to Cancun to an all-inclusive resort, and Tara and I were there for like 7 days, and it was a ton of fun, and it was really relaxing. And I'm not a big like hang out in the sun kind of guy due to like my vitiligo and stuff, but I made the best of it. We went in the ocean. We took some bomb pictures. We ate a ton of food. I don't have a ton of stories to tell right now. I do have one story I want to tell you guys about traveling that I thought was pretty funny. So we're getting home on our last flight from Chicago to Grand Rapids, where we live, and Tara and I had our you get a carry-on and a personal item, and my personal item's a backpack. And then my carry-on's like a luggage, right? That fits in like the top compartments. And we had put our luggage in like 2 compartments forward because someone had already filled the ones above our seats. It was a small plane. It was like a 2 aisles of 2, smaller plane because it's just going from Chicago to Grand Rapids, which is like a less than an hour flight. And we're getting ready to get off the plane, and you know how people deboard off a plane. And this woman in front of me is like asking the guy in front of her, hey, my bag is up there. It's blue. Can you grab it? And my bag's blue. And my bag, I don't have it with me. I wish I did. But it's like a darker blue. Okay, like a, not quite navy. It's a little more blue than navy, but it's like a darker blue. But the tag it has on it is like this very bright blue. Like it's a very flowery blue, I guess you would say, for my luggage tag. And this guy's trying to like ask her questions about her bag so he can locate the right one. And she's a little older, so it's like there's a disconnect there. And he's like, it's like a really girly blue, right? And she's like, yeah. And he's like it's really feminine. And I'm sitting here like, I know this motherfucker isn't talking about my bag. And he's like, yeah, it's like real, like he's like really like emphasizing how girly this bag is. Like, yeah, this bag is like, I mean, you that's got to be your bag because it's very fit. So lo and behold, this motherfucker pulls my bag down and goes, right, like come on, look at this. And she's like, no, that's not my bag. And I'm sitting here like, it was like a I think you should leave sketch where the guy's just going on and on about how feminine this bag is, and then he pulls mine down, and I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? And I'm just sitting there like laughing about it because I was like, whatever. Her bag wasn't even that feminine blue. It was just a normal blue bag. But I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, I feel like I'm in a I think you should leave sketch. The trip was really relaxing. It was a lot of fun. we do the thing, it's all inclusive and they have like multiple restaurants. So Tara and I would do the thing where we'd eat dinner pretty early, like 5, 6 o'clock. And then like at 9:30 before the restaurants would close, we'd be like, it might be time to go have a second dinner. And then we'd go down and eat more food and stuff. And so it was just a lot of fun. We had a great time. So that was great. But when we got home on Saturday night, and then we both took Sunday off because we were like, we don't want to have to go back to work the next day after traveling all day, which, smart, right? And so we, Sunday we're like, all right, we're going to do laundry. We're going to go grocery shopping. We're going to do all the things to catch up so we can go into Monday going to work being like, okay, we got this shit all set up. And so we go grocery shopping and we're standing there and I'm like, you know what sounds really good, Tara? And she's like, what? And I was like, a chicken Caesar salad. And she's like, well, we can get ingredients for that. We'll get a rotisserie chicken. We'll get some, some different kinds of lettuce. We'll get some Parmesan cheese, some like the really thin shaved Parmesan cheese that you put in Caesar salads. We'll get some croutons and we'll get some Caesar dressing. And I'm like, hell to the yeah, let's do it. So we go grocery shopping, get all that stuff. And then for dinner, she's like, all right, I'm going to go whip up Caesar salads. And I was like, hell yeah. So she makes us the salads. She comes back with this ginormous bowl. Like this is like probably accurate, like ginormous bowl of salad. And I'm like, I'm starving. So I'm like, fuck yeah. So I start eating this and this shit is good as hell. Right? I'm like, eating this Caesar salad like nobody's business. And she's like, oh, is it really that good? I go, it's delicious. She has her own bowl. We're eating, we're watching TV, whatever. I finished my bowl. I finished the whole damn thing, which was a lot of fucking salad, okay? A lot of salad. And I don't eat a lot of salad. So then she's like, hey, I have some left over. Do you want it? And I'm like, fuck yeah, give that shit here. And I'm like, this is like the best salad I've ever had in my life. Like, I can't believe how good this salad was. And she's like, wow, thanks. And, it was pretty easy to put together. And I'm like, oh, we'll have to do it again. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's, there's some flu stuff going around, some norovirus. I didn't drink any water in Mexico. I didn't. Tara thinks in the shower I swished some water around in my mouth and spit it out, and she thinks that's enough to make me mighty sick. I don't know. It could have just been the amount of lettuce I ate, which I didn't eat a lot of I don't eat a lot of lettuce typically, and it's hard to digest. So I wake up at like 2 a.m, and I want you to know, like, I have side note, I have all of the questions that have been asked of me that I haven't answered still in this document over here. And one of them is, Mike, tell us more diarrhea stories. And so this is kind of qualifying as that. So basically what happens is I wake up at 2:30 a.m. and my stomach mighty hurts. And so I go to take a poop. And I don't really poop a lot, but I poop some. But what I do poop is not of the solid nature, not to get too graphic with you guys. And I'm like, man, my stomach still hurts, but I can't sit on the toilet all night. I gotta be to work at like 10 a.m., right? So I go back in the bed with a hurt stomach. And I'm like tossing and turning, trying to sleep. And then 4:30 comes, and I go, I'm going to try to shit again because I'm still awake and my stomach still hurts. I go in there and immediately vomit. And no one likes vomiting, right? I really don't like vomiting. I will, like, if I know I'm sick and I have to, and my, like, you get the mouth waters, I will hold. I'll just try to tense up so I don't have to, right? But there was no stopping this. So I throw up a bunch. And it's not to gross anybody out, but I want you guys to understand how terrible this was. It's like whole pieces of fucking lettuce and Parmesan. And like, it has, like, a Caesar salad has that bitter taste, and it's just the bitter taste. And I'm like, oh, this is so awful. So I puke a ton. I wipe down, I brush my teeth, and I go back to bed thinking hopefully that was it, right? 2 hours later, I wake up again and do it again. So we're talking 6:30 in the morning at this point. 2 hours later at 8:30, I wake up again and do it again. At this point, Tara wakes up, which it's crazy she didn't wake up because I don't know. You guys know how I sneeze. If you've ever seen me sneeze, like on stream or whatever. And I sneeze very hard, like it's very like involuntarily hard. Same with like vomiting. It's like very involuntarily hard. So I'm surprised she didn't wake up, but she wakes up, she goes, "What's going on?" I go, "Yeah, I've puked multiple times today." And she's like, "Oh no." And so she starts getting ready for work, and I text one of my coworkers to say, "Hey, can you switch with me today? Because I've been up all night throwing up, and I'll work your night shift if you work my morning shift." And she's like, "Yeah, no problem." So I'm like, "Okay, at least I can try to go to sleep." So then Tara leaves for work, and she's like, "I'm so sorry. I hope you feel better." And then 10:30 comes around, and I puke again. So like every 2 hours, like clockwork. And I'm like, how is there still Caesar salad inside of me, right? But like I said, I ate this gigantic bowl. And so this time with the vomit comes blood. And like a decent amount of it. Like not a little bit. I'm not like, oh, whatever. That was from my nose. I had a bloody nose or whatever, right? No, this was like a decent amount of blood. And so that's pretty concerning, right? And I immediately get on the internet and I'm like, what? Vomiting blood. And everything I read on the internet is that I probably tore my esophagus from puking so hard, and that can heal normally, but you should go get checked out anytime you have blood in your vomit, like, because it could be something very bad. It's likely not, but you don't want to like risk it, right? So I'm like, fuck, okay. So I text Tara and I'm like, "Hey, can you come back from work and take me to the hospital?" So I get to the hospital and it's basically what the internet described. I tore my esophagus. They can't tell me why I'm like throwing up. They don't know why it's the way it is. But just like, "Hey, here's some anti-nausea medicine, and we gave you some, gave you a couple IVs because you're dehydrated, and here's some pain meds to deal with, like, because my chest hurts, like in here, but you're fine otherwise. You're a healthy boy." So, and only recently, only within the last couple days, because that was not to date this. I'm recording this on Tuesday, the 28th. And that was Monday, the previous Monday. So like a week ago. And only within the last couple of days have I started to feel really normal. Like I've been eating normal food and stuff, but my stomach still felt kind of like just sour and weird. So yeah, jury's out. I don't know why. Tara was a trooper and took care of me. I didn't miss work for a couple of days, but people covered me. But it definitely, like, I wanted to like get back from Mexico, have my day Sunday to get everything set, go to work Monday and then Monday night get on my computer and start like doing this and like editing stuff. And that really or like streaming. I haven't streamed yet since in the new year. So like that's the kind of stuff I wanted to do, and it really set me back a bit. So that's my fun story for you guys about my visit to the hospital. I don't know if it was necessary to tell you, but like, I don't know. I kind of wanted to update you guys on like what's been going on with me. Haha, fun stuff, right? 2025. I think I posted in the Discord, "Man, this has been a long year." And they're like, "Mike, it's January 25th. One of my favorite things about doing this show in the small amount of time I've done it is like recommending like music to you guys, and then like having like people like Frank or whatever go, "Hey, I just listened to that album that you recommended and I loved it. I'm going to keep listening to it." Because that music is one of my favorite things in the whole world, and that makes me super happy. So it's been a long time since I've recommended anything. So I'm going to recommend an album by a band I only recently got into within the last like 6 months, which is funny because they've been around a long time and they're definitely in my wheelhouse. I've just never really got into them, and that's Pierce the Veil. I think it was the look. I think the reason I didn't get into them before is they kind of have this like this look of this Warped Tour look of the era, with the real big emo-vers and long hair. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of a not offensive way of saying this, but just kind of like a dirty look, like greasy maybe, because the long hair and everything. And I think that might have been why I never really got into them. Other than like passively, like King for a Day, everybody knows King for a Day, you know what I mean? But I have a friend at work who was like, "You would really like him, so you should listen to him," and she made me playlists, and I've been in ever since. The album I'm going to recommend is probably their most famous album, Collide with the Sky. I don't know if it's my favorite of their albums, but it's definitely the one that is the most like accessible to their music and what they are, in my opinion. It has King for a Day on it. Obviously, that's their biggest song, I believe, by a large margin. But it has some other really good songs like Bulls in the Bronx, I really love. Hell Above and A Match into Water are both really great songs. I'm Low on Gas and You Need a Jacket, which is another great song, which is a quote from Wayne's World that they like. It's something Garf says, which is just funny to me. Hold On Till May. So there's a lot of really good songs on this album, and it's probably their most accessible album. Again, maybe not my favorite, but one that I do listen to quite a bit now. And they recently played this whole album at when we were young. I always get confused. Is it When We Were Young or When You Were Young? When You Were Young is the Killers song. So I think it's When We Were Young. Music Festival, they played this album in its entirety, which I always think that's really cool when bands do that. But yeah, you guys should check that album out if you haven't before. They're definitely a little more on the metal side of like the emo spectrum. They have a lot of like cool breakdowns and screaming and stuff, but they also like have a lot of really like good hooks and good lyrics, like Vic from Pierce the Veil. Really, really good lyricists. Not something I expected out of them when I got into them, but no, I've been way better about. Well, it's tough to say. So, there's this thing that I always talk about, and I'm sure I talked about this on this podcast before, but like how I always noticed how my dad never listened to new music, right? Like he was like listening to Jimi Hendrix like 30 years later, or Led Zeppelin, and like and he would listen to stuff that was on the radio. Like he had an Eminem phase, you know what I mean? But like he rarely got into new music. And to me, I didn't want to become that in that way. And I've definitely become that. There are bands that I love that have released new music and I haven't listened to it, but I've gotten better about listening to people's recommendations on new music in the last couple of years, which I'm proud of that I've done that, at least because like Sleep Token was a recommendation. I think Panda originally told me I need to listen to Sleep Token. Shouts Panda. Pierce the Veil's another one. So I've gotten into like not new music because these bands aren't, well, Sleep Token kind of, but like not new, but different music, I guess. Like I'm giving other music a chance. So I'm trying to be better about listening to new music, but I'm at least giving other music a chance. So I'm pretty excited about that. Tara and I, after years and years and years of being begged by my sister, Jody, to watch What We Do in the Shadows. And I'm mad it took me so long to watch this show. It's I've seen the movie. The movie's great. The movie kind of ends weird. It's almost like they didn't know where to go with it. But the show itself, what kept me away from it, I think, is that well, let me explain. The movie stars Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords and other people, and they wrote it. And it's basically the idea is these are New Zealand vampires that live in a flat together and they're roommates. But like it's in modern times and it's like shot mockumentary style, kind of like The Office. And that was the original movie. And the movie's hilarious and I love it. And the reason I didn't watch the show first, because I was like, they didn't cast themselves in the show. Like they produce it. And I think Taika Waititi writes the show still and Jermaine writes the show still. But they didn't cast themselves in it. And I was like, well, it's not the original guys. It's not going to be funny. I'm wrong. The show is better than the movie, hands down. Tara and I watched like at night when we were in Mexico, you could stream to the TV in the room. And we watched probably like 2 or 3 whole seasons like while we were there. We love it. It's so funny. I highly recommend the show. It, like any show, it starts off a little slow until you get kind of used to the characters, but it's like raunchier than you expect. It's bloodier than you expect because it's, you know, about vampires. These aren't New Zealand vampires. They're just a collection of vampires that live in Staten Island. So it's a little more Americanized than the movie is. And there's twists to it from the movie. It's not the exact same plot as the movie, which I think is great. And it's just really funny. It's the most I've laughed watching something, with the exception of I Think You Should Leave, which is like, if you guys know me, it's like in my wheelhouse for sure. And I've realized I'm very vampire pilled. You know, like I really like vampire stuff. Like I like Castlevania. I like Bram Stoker's Dracula. I like Twilight even. You know, like I just really like vampire stuff. I don't know why. I like monster movie stuff. Like I like Frankenstein's monster and the Wolfman and all that. But like I just really like vampire stuff. And What We Do in the Shadows is like some of the funniest vampire stuff. A lot of the jokes they make are very like steeped in like monster movie lore and stuff. And it's really good. Another problem I had with the movie is that it's mostly shot at night because they're vampires, right? And so like because everything is so dark, it's hard to kind of parse what's going on. And they do a much better job in the show, even though a lot of it's shot at night. They do a lot of shooting in the house, which is like this really fantastic set. And because of that, it's a lot easier to follow. And they just light it better. It's just the original movie was very low budget. They kind of just got their friends to act in it. Like doesn't have a high budget. So. But yeah, I highly recommend. It's on. It started on FX, which means it's on Disney Plus, which is so funny because it's like I said, it's very raunchy and very gory, but like it's on Disney Plus, and that's how we've been watching it. I think a new season comes to Disney Plus this week, sometime. I don't remember. But I really enjoyed that. Again, I'm gonna talk about another vampire thing, so it's really funny. I've always had this like underline, I'm going to do a Castlevania podcast about the show thing, and it's never going to happen. But I watched Castlevania Nocturne, finally. I watched the first season, and then I watched the new season on the ride home when it came out, because it just came out. And it's really good. I don't know that it's as good as the original 4 seasons of Castlevania on Netflix, but it's really good. It's following Richter, and it's like a loose adaptation of Rondo of Blood, which is the game that Richter stars in originally, and very loose adaptation. Like it's kind of just the setting. It's kind of just the setting and some of the characters. The second season, like the first season, kind of sets up the second season a lot, and the second season's really good. The action in it is incredible. Like that animation team is really coming to their own as far as like writing and producing really good action scenes and like making the characters do really cool shit. And especially the second season, especially the last episode, which has like a big like, whoa, there's a big fight, and Richter is just a fucking badass. Just they do a really good job of adapting Richter here. And I hope, the creators have said, hey, if you want there to be more, please watch this. Please binge this, because there's certain metrics that Netflix looks for, and binging is one of them. And so if you want to watch this show, I would recommend you binge it soon, because that's, they're making a cool thing that they love doing, and it's not like it hasn't been like bastardized into like we're trying to print money or whatever. It's just a cool thing they're making because they love the source material and they love doing it. So I highly recommend you watch it if you're interested in that kind of thing at all. You don't need to really watch the first 4 seasons of Castlevania if you haven't watched that yet. There's tiniest bit that it would help you with, but not really. It's kind of its own standalone thing, but it's really good, and I highly recommend it. All right, and I'm going to pull, because I feel like, this is a good sized start back to this podcast. I'm going to pull one viewer question from my boy SpikeGhetti. Shout-outs to Eric. Shout-outs to SpikeGhetti. And his hold on, let me make sure I didn't actually answer this yet, because it's possible I did. So SpikeGhetti asks, what is the best road trip snack? And I have a couple minds of this. I'm of a couple minds on this. One, my first thought is beef jerky. Because beef jerky is a snack. It's not a meal, right? It's a snack. But it tastes like a meal, right? You know what I mean? Like it's a meat. It tastes like a meal. It tastes, it's hearty, it's meaty, and you just beef jerky. So I think beef jerky's number 1 for me. That being said, I got a bit of a sweet tooth myself, so I do like Mambas. I think Mambas are actually kind of a poor road trip snack in the way that you have to unwrap. You have to unwrap them 3 times. I don't know if anybody's ever had Mambas, but basically they're like Starburst, but they taste more like fruit. Starburst tastes more like just sugar and like kind of, to me, Starburst just tastes kind of fake, where Mambas taste a little more like the fruit that they're trying to fool you that they are. But the problem with them is they put 3, it's one big package, and then inside that package, there are 3 packages of different flavors. And then inside the package of the flavors, each individual fruit chew is wrapped. So you have to unwrap shit 3 times. So if you're going to eat Mambas on a road trip, you got to have a good co-pilot that's there to unwrap them for you. But they're delicious. It's one of my favorite candies. I don't like to do a lot of chocolate when I'm on the road because it gets melty. And I'm honestly not a big chip guy when I'm driving, because then it's like you get the powder. The chips I like, they're cheesy, and you get powder, and then it's on the steering wheel, and it's like all over. Pretzels are good though, because pretzels don't really leave a lot of residue. I do like a good pretzel. I'm trying to think of Skittles. Like Skittles are similar to Starburst, that they taste kind of fake, but it's like I like it a lot more. And if I had to choose like Skittles, I think I'm actually going the gummy Skittles. They're kind of like Lifesaver gummies or whatever kind of gummies. I like gummies, so Skittles gummies is probably my other fruity go-to there for snacks. I'm just a big fan of getting fast food when you're on the road, like getting a couple McDoubles and some fries, or Taco Bell, getting some tacos and just getting fucking lettuce and cheese all over yourself as you're driving down the road. I'm a big fan of fast food on the road when I'm road tripping. For whatever reason, maybe it's nostalgic for me. I don't road trip a lot anymore. I'm actually going on a road trip this weekend, which, when this post, I actually think it'll be last weekend, to go to that same conference where I won the trip. So, hey, fingers crossed that I win another one. I guess I'll let you guys know in the next episode of this. So, but thank you, SB, for the question. I would request at the end of this episode here that you, and I might ping the Discord to remind everybody, but maybe a little like refill of some questions. There's some in here that I can answer. The problem with what I have left is a lot of it is very research involved. Like Kyrie's bro wants to know why Final Fantasy Spirits Within is a bad movie, in my opinion. I'd want to rewatch that before just speaking on it. I could tell you why right now, but to be fair to the movie and the Kyrie bros question, like Meteor Phoenix said, hey, rank every Final Fantasy 1 through 16. There are some I haven't played in a long time or ever, so that's kind of tough. Kingdom Hearts music tier list, like that's like a whole episode. So a lot of the questions I have are like, hey, plan out a whole episode of this, and I'm willing to do that, but I also would like, so if you guys have any more questions for me, let me know. Hopefully that Jason episode sees the light of day for you guys. That's depends on if he still has or not. He says he still has it. He's just having trouble finding it, but we'll see. So I think that's it for this episode. Buy your Reconnect tickets if you haven't, because we're going to be there at Reconnect. I can't promise we're going to be doing anything at Reconnect as far as Reconnect stuff, but I guess you'll have to wait and see on that. I can't confirm nor deny, but it's coming up. We have a countdown in the Discord, and we're under 200 days now, and so that's getting really close, and it's really exciting. Speaking of the Discord, if you want to come join the coolest group of people that I've had the pleasure of meeting, you can join our Discord. The link is in the description. Check it out. It's a fun place to be, whether you want to talk Kingdom Hearts, Squid Game, just video games in general, movies in general, a lot of movie talk, a lot of TV show talk. People post selfies, people post pictures of their dogs. There's a channel where we just say, yeah, over and over. So there's something for everybody in the Discord. So if that sounds like a good time to you, please go join. Also, check out, our other podcasts that we do. The Squid Game podcast, Squid Pro Quo with Sean, has really been awesome this season. We're having a lot of fun with it. And actually, tomorrow I'm recording the final episode of season 2 for that. So I'm really excited about that because it's it's been really fun seeing a lot of people join the Discord that are like Squid Game, and then they get there and they're like, "What's with this Kingdom Hearts stuff?" You know what I mean? Because it started as a Kingdom Hearts thing. So, but we're kind of just becoming this big mass of like pop culture in our Discord, and so that's been great. And then we're gonna start streaming here pretty quick again. During the subathon, I started playing Elden Ring, and I'm actually having a lot of fun with it, even though it's not my kind of game. So we're gonna stream more of that soon. We're going to stream some like Vampire Survivor challenges. We're going to stream a bunch of different stuff. So twitch.tv/Super SpikeGhetti Bros. And that's going to do it for this episode of the S Report. That's what it's called now. Get used to it. And good tidings, everybody. That's not what I say. That's the start of the episode. You don't say good tidings at the end, Mike. It's been a long time since I've done this. I actually don't. Did I just end this podcast like we end the Answer Report? Like, may your heart be your guiding key. Fuck off. I don't think we did fuck off. We'll just go with may your heart be your guiding key. Thank you.